Warning! The Stone Age Gamer podcast includes a lot of bad language. Cover your motherfucking ears.
Good evening and welcome to the Stone Age Gamer podcast. I'm Kris Randazzo and joining me tonight is super fighting robot Dan Ryan.
Mega Man. They just call him Mega. I hate that.
We'll talk about it later. Welcome back to the SAG Cartoon Express, where Dan and I talk about old video game cartoons. This once we watched an episode of Mega Man. Wait, was that Gutsman's ass? Don't get turned into a robot because the Stone Age Gamer podcast starts now. Oh my god, I can't believe we wound up with the Gutsman's ass episode. That was amazing.
Hi, everyone. It's a weirdly sexual episode.
This is episode 504. It's the week of March 8th, 2024. Dan, how the heck are you doing?
Oh, man. I'm really tired, Kris. I don't know what's going on. As we said in our pre-show meeting, as we all came into the office this evening, this getting old shit is getting old, man. I'm just tired. So earlier this week, did I tell you guys? I don't remember. One of the puppies that we had, one of them got adopted. Bowser got adopted.
Hooray!
And one of the other ones that we had, Shy, the other little black-coated one, it always looked like there was something off with her. Like her head shape just looked a little different, but we were like, all right, maybe
she had the brain cavity thing or whatever.
Yeah, so she had the hydroencephalitis, right?
Yeah.
So she had a stroke. She had a couple of seizures, and when I came home from work on Tuesday, it was like, all right, today's the day. Like she's got to go. We got to take her in. Because she was in fucking pain and she was just up all night crying, and we were like, man, we could do like thousands and thousands of dollars for this surgery that would help her out for a little bit, but it's only a 40% chance of success. And even if we hit the 40% chance of success, we'd have to do the surgery again 2 or 3 more times as she grows. So it's like you have to make those decisions at times, you know what I mean? Because she's just a puppy. She doesn't know. So we had to go put her down on Tuesday, which was like incredibly sad and incredibly draining. And then as soon as we get home, it's like you can't even like grieve the moment, because you walk in and it's like, puppies, fuck, you guys are back. We're so excited to see you. Please feed us. You know, and like they're just jumping and they're tearing things up and they're just everywhere. And my kids have started this thing, and I don't know why they've started this thing, but they use paper towels, right? Just for wiping up a mess or drying off their hands or whatever you use a paper towel for. And then they just leave them about the place. They don't do this with anything else. Yeah, I don't know why. They don't just leave their garbage everywhere. I mean, I don't know. I don't go in their bedrooms. Maybe their bedrooms are just full of garbage. It's very possible.
It's just full of paper towels, floor to ceiling.
Maybe.
No, that would be boys.
But like, I got home from work today, and I went to the kitchen. I refill the dog's water bowl. I'm looking around on the counter, and there's like 4 or 5 balled up paper towels, just like on the counter. And I'm like, hey, assholes, what are you doing? Because the puppies are now big enough to get up on the counters. So guess what the puppies get every day?
Free paper towels for breakfast?
A bunch of paper towels. And guess what they do?
They use them to clean up their mess?
Yeah, 100%. It's really cool. We've done a great job training them. They're very, very well-behaved puppies. We're upping the price. No, as you would expect, they tear them to shreds. And they're just shreds of paper towel all over my house, because my fucking children will not throw their paper towel. And I'm like, girls, what are you doing? They're like, I don't know. Like, well, no, that's not an acceptable answer to that question. I need you to like understand what you're doing right now. You're wiping up a spill that you made, like you poured some milk in the cereal bowl and you dribbled some milk out on the side. You didn't grab the sponge for that. I don't know why you didn't grab the sponge for that. You decided to grab a paper towel because fuck trees. But whatever. Good on you. Fuck trees. But then you wiped it up and you walked away. I don't.
Like you didn't make anything Chris. Better. You just moved.
No, you made it.
You didn't clean up the mess. You just moved it.
Yeah, you moved the mess into the paper towel and then made a mess with the paper towel. I don't really understand what is happening, but I'm about to move out. If I see another goddamn paper towel just on the counter, you fucking monsters. What is wrong with you people? They've started doing that, and they've started doing, they both do their own laundry, right? Which is great, because they're 14, and they need to be doing their own laundry, and that's a skill that they need to be practicing and getting better at and more responsible with, and all of those things. And it sucks. Nobody likes doing laundry. Laundry's no fun. But what they'll do, so like Katie will have a load of clothes in the washer and in the dryer, right? So if Penny goes down to do her laundry and Katie's clothes are in the dryer, Penny will just take them out and pile them on top of the dryer. She won't put them in a basket and be like, hey, Katie, you forgot these. Please come get them. She will just pile them on top of the dryer and then put Katie's other clothes in the dryer, put her clothes in the wash. She won't tell Katie that Katie's clothes are done. And because Katie's 14, she will naturally forget that she was doing laundry because she gets distracted by a video or playing guitar or doing whatever the fuck she's doing. So then Penn comes down again.
It is hard to remember that laundry is happening a lot of times. That happens around here all the time. If I don't hear the laundry machine go off, it'll be like an hour and I'm like, fuck, I was supposed to advance the laundry at some point. Where is everything?
Yeah, God damn it. Yeah, sure. But Penn will then go down to put her clothes in the dryer. And Katie's clothes, her second load, will be dry, and Penn will take those out and put them on top of the dryer. And then put her clothes in the dryer. And then Katie will go down to put her clothes in the wash, not notice or pay attention that there are clothes. And like, there's just a week's worth of laundry piled up on top of the dryer. And they have now remixed all of their clothes together. And I'm like, if I come downstairs and there are clothes on top of this dryer again, you're fucking eating them. Like that.
I don't. Them up. You could eat them for dinner.
You're going to have fucking t-shirt soup, you pricks. Knock it off. Because eventually what happens, because our washing machine and dryer, they're downstairs. So the dogs, our dogs, Yogi and Dozer and Willow and Sarge, will be downstairs so that they're not up fucking with the puppies or whatever. And they'll bump into the dryer because they're big and they're oafish and they jump on each other and all of those things. And they will knock the clothes to the floor. And then guess what happens? They chew them up.
Oh, no.
They chew them up. And then the kids are sad that their favorite t-shirt now has a bunch of fucking holes in it because the dogs chewed it up. And then they come to me and they're like, I need new jeans. The dogs chewed my jeans up. And I said, you are going to school with your ass cheeks hanging out. I don't give a fuck. I told you to get your shit off of the dryer. What's wrong with you? Paper towels and teenage laundry just all over my head. It's like a fucking emo song. There's a song in there somewhere. Very, very tiring. I'm tired, Chris. I'm just tired.
I understand.
And
that
because of the puppies,
exhausting.
like I was saying last week, like because of the puppies, they're not getting smaller, which is weird. I thought you would think as time goes on, they would start going the other way. Like we just can't fucking do anything, can't play a game, can't watch TV, can't really do much that requires sound because they are all encompassing. So I just sleep.
A lot of dog.
It's, oh my God, it's so much. It's so much. One should be, so we're recording this on Friday. I have a meet and greet for one of the male puppies should be getting adopted tomorrow, either Yoshi or Wario. So we'll be down to 3, which really feels like much more manageable. It's really like, I don't know how much of a difference it's going to make. I hope it makes some sort of impact. If we could get the mom adopted, that would really, really help too. It's just kind of hard to adopt out a former working farm dog. You know, it's like, all right, well, you want a 100-pound couch potato? That's kind of a hard ask at times, you know, because people who are looking for Anatolian Shepherds are looking for working dogs. They're looking for livestock dogs. And Peach is just not very good at that. So that's fine. She's an excellent pet, but it's just a lot of pet to bring into your house. But she's like a teen mom. You know what I mean? Like she plays too much and she's too rough with the kids. And she doesn't really discipline them as much as like, oh, well, the kids are fucking around, so I guess I better fuck around too. And I'm like, Peach, you can't run around like a puppy in the goddamn house. You're 100 pounds. You're breaking shit. Knock it off. And I yell at her and she looks at me like, okay. Like she looks like with a real shitty attitude. Fuck, man.
Tell me.
Going back. Go, yeah, really. Don't tell me. I'm a mom too. You don't know everything. Fuck, I'm going back out into my office. It's a weird life I've settled into, Chris.
Yes, indeed.
What's going on? Really, I don't know how I got here. I really don't.
It's just strange adventure you've been on.
It's just, shit just keeps happening. Like, all right, fucking do it. It's because I don't say no, Chris. That's what it is. Yeah. I don't say no. You didn't learn. That was the whole rule in schools. Just say no. Nope.
You were like, fuck
didn't
that.
Learn.
I'm a rebel.
That's right. Want to do some coke? Yeah. Fuck. Awesome. Sounds great.
You got Pepsi?
Shut up. What's wrong with you? How dare you?
Sorry, I know you're an RC Cola guy all through and through.
Oh, I'm 100% an RC Cola guy if I had my druthers. I love RC Cola.
The Royal
Fuck
Crown.
Around.
I had a weird experience this week. I've been working really hard this week on the script for the third Mario history video. This is by far the hardest thing I've ever written. Like, this is the most challenging writing I've ever done in my life. This script is just a monster to make sense of, because I keep learning shit. Like, I keep finding new information. Like,
That's frustrating.
I was pretty confident in where I was, and then like somewhere in the back of my head, I knew this to be true. And then, well, first off, I was watching, what was it? Just because I was just researching in the back of my head, I was like, all right, somebody's got to know more information than me, so let me check this out. So I watch other people's YouTube videos about history of Mario 3, and I wound up watching the Gaming Historians one again, because I'd seen it when he first posted it, but I hadn't watched it in a while. And he pointed out that the first mention of Mario 3 in Nintendo Power was actually 2 issues earlier than I thought it was. I didn't spot it. Okay. I was going through all of my issues, but I didn't spot it in issue 4. So I thought it was issue 6. So that had to change a bunch of the timeline in my script, because I wrote a chunk about how the first instance was during this month, not 4 months prior, because Nintendo Power was still bi-monthly back then. So I had to mess that around. And then I knew this somewhere in my head, but the first mention of it was in a full page, basically ad for the Play Choice 10, which got completely unceremoniously got Super Mario Bros. 3 in July of 89, when the game didn't come out on NES till February of 1990. So before the Wizard, before Nintendo Power even talked about the game in any other way than just mentioning what the title of it was, before anything, Nintendo dropped completely unceremoniously Super Mario Bros. 3 in the few arcades that had Play Choice 10 machines. It was the strangest goddamn thing.
That's wild.
So I had
That's
to
wild.
I originally was just like, I threw it in as a footnote at the end of what I was talking about, getting ready for the launch of Super Mario Bros. 3. Because I'd written up through the announcement during the Wizard. And I was like, and then blah, blah, blah. And they, Nintendo actually released it in arcades briefly a few months prior. And I was like, no, that's not right. I shouldn't do it that way because I'm telling the timeline. And regardless of how I remember the timeline going, right? I remember how I experienced learning about Super Mario Bros. 3, but that's not the actual facts of history. So I need to go back and move this around and rejigger it. And this has happened to me like 4 or 5 times while writing this script. Like, the story is already complicated as hell of trying to suss together, like, because the history of Mario is so weird at this point. Like, I'm starting out with the pack-in games, and then I wanted to... This actually helped me a little bit because the way the thing starts, right? I'm doing an intro, and then I have to go straight into the Nelsonic Game Watch, which is kind of boring for Super Mario Bros. 1. Like, that's not really a great way to start a video.
Sure.
But fortunately,
but
now
it is where it is.
It is where it is, but that finding out that Mario 3 was in that earlier issue of Nintendo Power, I could then do a bit about the Play Choice cabinets themselves and how that was how Nintendo evolved their dwindling arcade business, and that's how they announced Mario 3, and then move on to the Nelsonic Game Watch, which I must say I'm very happy with my transition, right? Because I'm talking about how they announced Super Mario Bros. 3, and I said Mario's world was about to get much bigger, but not before getting much smaller. And then I talk about the Game Watch. It's like, oh,
well
good for
done.
me. Yes, writing. But this was, I mean, I think this is the last really hard one to do, because this is the last time that there's just such a massive difference between what happened in Japan versus what happened in North America. And it's like, that's the part that I'm really excited to talk about at the end, because I think I mentioned last week how I was going to get to the end of the script and I was going to have to end it on the Super Mario Bros. 3 Game Watch, which is super anticlimactic, because that's just the way this fits in order to tell the next chapter of the story, being the chapter, the build up to Super Mario World. Right. But I'm going to follow up. I'm going to do a brief thing on the Game Watch and then talk about the differences between the Super Mario Brothers series evolution up to this point, which is so fucking fascinating, because I'm drawing all these interesting comparisons that I noticed when playing Super Mario Brothers 3, because I played it the way in chronological order of how we experienced it in North America, right? We got Mario 1, Mario 2, Mario Land, Mario 3. And then, like, the Game & Watch or whatever, I didn't necessarily play those when I was younger, but those don't have a huge impact on the evolution, right? But, like, Super Mario Bros. 1, it's against Bowser. It is the game that it is. Super Mario Bros. 2, we've moved on to a completely different villain with completely different enemies in a completely different location. And that's now our normal, right? Because we didn't get Super Mario Bros. 2, the Japanese one, which was basically just Mario 1 again. But in Japan, they just we're including all the spin-offs. They get Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers Special, Super Mario Brothers 2, then Super Mario Brothers 3. So Mario 3 to them is this crazy evolution. Like, imagine going from the Lost Levels to Mario 3. Like, that is
that would be
huge
just
leap.
Gigantic.
It's an unbelievable leap between those two games. And that's really the actual evolution of the series, right? That was what it actually was, because that's where the games were made. Mario 3 was meant to be the ultimate evolution of that. But since we got the games, not even at, like, Mario Land came out here before 3, whereas in Japan it came out after 3. But, like, Mario Land showed us the marine pop, right? There's a power-up that lets you free move throughout the water, just like the frog suit. The marine pop and sky pop levels are auto-scrolling stages, which that's the first time they appeared to us, and they appear in Super Mario Bros. 3. Super Mario Bros. 2 introduces picking up items, carrying them, and throwing them, which you can do in Mario 3. It introduces mini-bosses, like the Birdo, right? And end of every stage, every area, you've got Birdo. Boom Booms are mini-bosses in Super Mario Bros. 3. That's a similarity. That's an evolution of the Birdo thing. But it's fucking not. In reality, it's not. But at the same time, it kind of is. Like the platforms, you can jump, multi-tiered platforms, you can jump from underneath to land on top of. Those didn't exist in Super Mario 1 or Super Mario Brothers 2 in Japan. They exist in Mario 3 and they exist in Mario 2. Like there's all these parallels that make Mario 3 a natural evolution from Super Mario Brothers 2 and Super Mario Land. But they actually aren't, because Super Mario Land
was wild.
Supposed to come out afterward. It's so weird. And that's what's making this whole history such an interesting script to write. So I'm at the last chapter right now. I'm writing about Super Mario Brothers 3 so that I can do that, then transition into the Game Watch, and then transition into the comparisons. So I'm purposely trying to explain what was new about Mario 3 without talking specifically about the things that were evolutions that appeared to us as natural evolutions from Super Mario Brothers 2. And the other thing is that it's the villain thing too, right? Super Mario Brothers 3, during this year we got the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, which Bowser was the constant villain, or King Koopa was the constant villain of. But outside of that, Mario fought Bowser, then Wart, then Tatanga, then this is the big return of Bowser. Whereas in Japan, he fought Bowser, and Bowser, and then Bowser again. Like, it was just always Bowser in Japan.
Right.
Whereas here in the US, we're already developing a rogues gallery, which we then never see again once the series converges and we start getting, everything starts coming out around the same time without these year-long gaps or anything. We stop seeing it. We continue getting the games that Japan were getting. So with the exception of Wario and Mario Land 2, there's never another mainland Mario game where Bowser isn't the villain, which is has always been so supremely disappointing to me, because it was so much more interesting where Bowser was the Joker, right? Bowser was Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
He's the big one. But that doesn't, like,
but there's these other guys too.
The Riddler's no less of a menace, the Riddler's nothing to shake a stick at. The Penguin, there are other villains that are worthy of Batman's time. So there were these other villains that were worthy of being main villains in Mario games. Wario, Tatanga, and Wart. And we could have seen more of them too, but we just stopped. It was always Mario has to fight Bowser. And that's always been a source of disappointment for me ever since the old days, because it didn't used to be that. Similar to how 2D Mario games stopped being such a big deal when they were pumping out the relatively mundane new Super Mario Brothers games. New Super Mario games, not new Super Mario games, but new Super Mario games. They were an event, right? So anytime like a new Mario game would come out where he would have to fight Bowser again, that should feel like an event, right? That should feel like a big deal. Instead of Bowser's doing it again. Now this is his latest scheme. And they make it work. They do. But wouldn't it be so much more interesting if Tatanga came back? Wouldn't it be so much more interesting to see what else you could do with Wart or any of these other villainous characters? Like, wouldn't it be so much more interesting if it wasn't just Mario versus Bowser every time?
Yeah, I think so.
Donkey Kong's interesting like that, right? Donkey Kong Country 1 through 3 was variations of King K. Rool, but then they fought the Tiki Tak tribe, and then they fought the Snowmads. It's like, okay, cool. Now if the next game King K. Rool is back, well, that's really cool because it's a return of the classic villain. But then the next one should be something else. It's a great way of keeping things fresh. But anyway, I digress. This has been an extraordinary challenge. So this has been stressing me out all week because I really, really, really wanted this done by Monday. But as of yesterday, I was like, there's just no fucking way. I'm still writing the script. I haven't even started editing. There's no chance. If I just work constantly all weekend long, I'm still not going to have it done by Monday. I have to delay by a week, which means I have to fart out another video stat. Fortunately, I had an easy product video that I could do. I did. I covered the new Saturn Pro controller. Have you seen those?
I have, yeah.
So it's neat. It's actually a little bit bigger than the Saturn controller, which I kind of suspected from looking at it in pictures, but when you see it in I did a side-by-side comparison, it's actually a little tiny bit bigger than the regular Saturn pad. It works great. It syncs up no problem. And I tested it on like Street Fighter Alpha 2, obviously, because if you're going to test a D-pad on a controller, that's what you do it with. So I was able to play Street Fighter Alpha 2 flawlessly on the D-pad. And then I switched over to using the analog stick, which one interesting thing that I ran into was that the instruction manual says that by holding B and start, you switch to 3D controller or analog controller mode. And it's supposed to change the light from red to blue. But the light's green. The whole time, the light's green. So I held down the button and the light moved from one green light to a different green light. And I didn't know what that meant. That meant that it was going into 3D mode. So clearly something changed from when they printed this controller to whenever they did the firmware on this controller. So that confused me for a little bit. And the analog stick, like it looks in the in images, the analog stick is weirdly small. Like, I really don't know why this controller is made the way that it's made. It seems like it almost seems like they were trying extra hard to make it fit within the parameters of the original Saturn controller, except they already changed the size. So at that point, you're no longer matching the feel of that controller. So why not make these analog sticks a little bit easier to use? They're really not a problem. They're really not uncomfortable. I don't want to make it sound like they're uncomfortable. It's just that as I was playing Knights, I was playing Knights for the video because that's the one that I thought was the easiest to illustrate the analog movement, right? Because like you use the D-pad and he's going to move in one of the 8 directions, but if you're using an analog stick, you can show him change very slight directions with the 360 degrees movements. So as I'm playing it for a little while, capturing the footage, like I'm just it feels weird under my thumb, this really tiny analog stick. So it's kind of a weird thing. But other than that, so I was able to cobble together this video. It's not a new 3DS nub, but right, it's not that, but it's like it's not as good as I feel it could have been. Regardless, I'm cranking out this video to the best of my ability today because all the rest of this week, like John has an ingrown toenail that I had to take him to the doctor for.
Oh, that's fun.
So that was a hoot. And I also had this.
You just cut the toe off.
I had this weird experience with the neighbors. So
upside down pineapple. Very sexy.
Taking out
made me put my keys in a bowl.
Obviously, the kids are still occasionally coming over and clogging up my toilets. And as I was unclogging the toilet the last time they were over, I think it was earlier this week, maybe it was last weekend. I can't remember. Time has no meaning. But as I'm doing it, I'm thinking to myself, these girls, they're probably not moving away, right? Their mom has owned this house for a long time.
Right.
They're not going anywhere. And as long as they continue to be at least somewhat friends with Ellie, they're going to be a part of my life for a long time.
Yeah. So you should probably learn their names.
Which I'm not going to say them on the show.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Stands to reason that eventually I may meet one of their future boyfriends. And when I do, I will proudly proclaim, I remember when you used to come over to my house and clog up my toilets. Because I have no shame, and I'm in this for the long game. So sure, come over and eat all my snacks, and clog up my toilets with your massive dumps. I will embarrass you in front of the people. Wait. I will embarrass you in front of someone you don't want me to embarrass you in front of. No. Because I will be an old man. And I've got nothing to lose.
Ellie, your dad is such a dick. He's so mean.
Oh my God.
You definitely should not do that. Like, as the resident bully of the show, as has been brought up to me many times, of like, you were kind of a dick back in the day. And I was like, yeah, no, I thought I was funny. Didn't realize I was being a dick. I apologize for most of what I said and did throughout high school. I had a reason, but, it doesn't change anything. You should definitely not do that.
Well, to be fair, to be fair, if they bring home a boy, and that boy is so turned off by the fact that this happened, that their next door neighbor is willing to say. Like, if you tell somebody they used to clog the toilets, I'm sure it'll be embarrassing. But if that kid decides to dump you for that reason, great choice of words, then that kid was not worth your time anyway.
You apparently do not know middle and high schoolers very well. That is a really good reason for, compared to some of the things that I have heard in my time, or some of the reasons that I've given while I was in middle or high school. That's a much better reason than some of the ones I have. But,
and even if I don't do it, I can threaten to do it. So there's that.
You definitely should. Look, Samantha, if you don't stop being a bitch, I'm going to call up Billy and tell him you used to fucking top deck my toilet.
So yesterday, I'm taking out the trash, and Ellie and the girls next door are jumping on the trampoline. Because they have a trampoline back there, which is just... There's a reason I would never, ever buy a trampoline with my kids. Because they're so fucking dangerous.
Oh my God.
So anyway, they're back there. And earlier in the week, the younger daughter, she got hurt on the trampoline.
Naturally.
So
it's a trampoline.
There was a rule put into place that they weren't allowed to do any tricks on the trampoline without a grown-up present. So I got to take out the trash.
You're not allowed to bring a baseball bat onto the trampoline any longer.
No more chainsaws on the trampoline.
Oh, fine, Dad.
So I go outside to take out the trash, and they start yelling Jelly Bean. They call me Jelly Bean.
That's really fucking demeaning. That's awful.
This is another one of the reasons I'm keeping the clogging up my toilets.
I take back everything I said earlier. Fucking destroy those bitches' lives. Fucking call me Jelly Bean. I'm a grown ass man. Fuck you.
I don't know. I don't understand what it is. They just decided everyone needed candy nicknames, and I became Jelly Bean. And then, a few weeks later, they started giving each other candy nicknames. So now we all have candy nicknames, but whatever. So anyway,
they could have called you Mr. Reese. That would have been fine.
Could have called me any number of things. They could have called me anything with even a modicum of respect, but here we are.
But Jelly Bean is it is.
Jelly Bean it is. So,
Marshmallow would have been worse.
True.
Payday? That'd be a weird thing for a little kid to call somebody. Hey, Payday.
What's up, Fifth Avenue?
Take 5. How you doing?
They're jumping on the trampoline. I'm taking out the trash, and they start yelling, come here. So I come over there, and they're like, we're not allowed to do tricks on the trampoline without a grown-up present. But you're a grown-up, right? It's like, yeah. It's like, all right, check this out. And then it just goes into, watch this. Watch me do this. Watch me do this. Right?
I don't want to.
The older girl has her glasses on. And, whenever she wants to do some sort of trick. Now, these girls take gymnastics. They're pretty good at this stuff. She takes off her glasses and does a trick or whatever. And they're all taking turns. It's all fucking ridiculous. It's cold outside. I just want to go back. I just want to go back home because I'm already catastrophically behind on work. And, and
now I'm watching some fuckers do a backflip.
Oh, I'm watching them do all these backflips and front flips. And then it comes to the end. And at the very last minute, the older girl's just like, I have one more thing. And before I can even realize what's happening, she puts her glasses back on and then tries to do a flip.
Nope.
And I'm like, before I can even process it, she's face planting into the trampoline with her glasses on. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
So she immediately starts crying, and I'm like, crap. So I climb in because it's caged in. I climb into the trampoline and I take a look at her, and she's got a little cut on her nose. It's really not that bad, but not that long ago, she was in a car accident, and she was not wearing a seatbelt, which is a whole other conversation. But
wow, that's who, how, what, huh?
Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah, but
I thought that was the thing that we licked that one. That one's good. We all put our seatbelts on now
too. That's what I thought.
That just doesn't seem like a thing we have to talk about anymore.
Apparently it's not. We're just driving around with kids without seatbelts. So she got into a car accident, and she put her hand on her face. Was she driving? Thankfully, no. Okay. She put her hand on her face, and then she looked down and she saw all this blood on her hand, and she started freaking out because she had recently had a car accident, and in a similar situation, there was blood all over her hand. So, I carry her out of the trampoline, and I bring her inside her house, which I've never really been in their house. Like, I've been in, like, the front door, but I've never really been in, like, their kitchen or anything like that. So I don't know where anything is. I can tell that it's a small cut, but she's, like, kind of freaking out a bit. So I put her up. I carry her inside. I put her up on the counter. I grab a paper towel. I clean it up, and I show her. I take a quick picture with my phone. I'm like, look, see, it's a barely mosquito bite. It's going to be just fine. I calm her down. I settle her down. I get a nice pack, wrap it in some paper towels, crumple up the paper towels, leave them on the counter, as you do.
Fucking asshole. Learned it from you, didn't they? You fucking
they
prick.
Did. I've been secretly training them just to drive you nuts.
You're like a fucking sleeper agent. Fucking read Catcher in the Rye. It's awoken their paper towel bullshit.
The amount of hours I spend driving to and from your house just to teach them.
It's fucking effective. I'm so angry about it.
I'm dedicated to my craft, Dan. I'm dedicated to my craft.
It's like it's made me one of the angriest people on the planet, I think, right now. It's fucking infuriating. Well done, you. Well done.
So, anyway, I go into the freezer. I get a nice pack. I wrap it in paper towels and put it on her face and, try to make her laugh and everything. I get everything calmed down. Now, her mom is a hairdresser, and she has a client in, right? Because they like front chunk of her house. She has like a little area where she does hair, and she has somebody there. And I was like, okay, you got hurt on the trampoline. You should go tell your mom, right? Because I don't want to be like later or wherever. Just like at some point, you should tell your mom. And that's when she overhears, like, because I've been in the kitchen for a while, and mom, is not chiming in at all, right? I was not hiding my presence.
Mom is cool with a strange man handling her daughter in the kitchen.
So she finally, see, I don't know, I should say names, but the older kid, the one who got hurt,
make up a name.
I'm bad at that. I seriously can't think of one. What the fuck's wrong with me? I cannot think of one.
Just say a girl's name that is not Ellie or the child's name.
Amanda. So let's say
Perfect.
Amanda.
Thank you. Good God. Any name would have been fine.
It's just
Mama Lick a Boo Boo Day, as this fucking old Howard Stern bit.
Just sent you a message. Amanda, anyway, she's like, there's something wrong with my brain, Dan. I don't know. I'm fucking broken.
Really fucking is. Lois Lane is the fucking going comic book characters. Jesus.
Lois. I don't know. I just
Lois.
And Evan just saw the message with absolutely zero context. Anyway. So,
God.
Lois goes to talk to. She mentions out loud, like, "What's going on?" And she's like, "I fell." I kind of jump in and say, "She fell on the trampoline. She's perfectly fine."
I pushed her,
and then
the jelly bean
her
again.
Mom
shoved that bitch down.
Her mom kind of like annoyedly. Goes into the kitchen like, "Oh, we got to get an ice pack on and everything." And I was trying to tell her, like, I did that already. We're kind of past this. She needs it to be band-aided or whatever. But I don't want to tell her how to administer first aid to her kid. I don't know what she does, right? I don't want to overstep my bounds.
Sure.
But I felt like the entire time that she was looking at me like I had just strolled in and be like, "Your kid's bleeding. I don't know what to do." Like, I handled this situation. I calmed her down. I stopped her from crying. I carried her inside. I cleaned it out. Like, I did my part, but it seemed like she thought I didn't do my part. And she didn't say anything, but it was like a vibe I got of like, she's not my kind of person, but I have a lot of empathy for her. She's
okay.
I understand that she has a difficult life. So
sure.
I don't know. I just got a weird feeling. It's been floating around in my head this whole time of like, I don't know what I should have done better in that situation. I don't know what else I could have done, right? Because like this little kid, Lois, is like the physical embodiment of daddy issues.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. It's
and that's probably part of it. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, like psychoanalyzing this woman that I've never met, which is, boy, if that's just not a straight white American male thing to do, just let me just analyze this person who I don't know. But yeah, like that, there's probably some trust issues and things like that going on. And, you know, that's tough.
It's just, I feel like I came off like an irresponsible person and like, no, I did this already. I handled this situation perfectly. And it just seemed like I came off that way. And I don't know why it's bothering me so much. I handled this
situation perfectly. Nobody's ever, people were coming up to me. They were saying, sir, we've never seen anybody handle a situation like that before. We're selling them sneakers. It's going to be amazing. You don't know. Oh.
Throw up. But yeah, it was just it was just such a strange situation to be in, and like,
yeah,
I like these kids.
Sure.
Obviously they annoy the heck out of me, but you know,
well, they're children. Yeah,
they're 5 and 7-year-old girls. Of course, they're going to annoy the heck out of me, but I think they're good kids, and I like that Ellie has somebody to play with all the time, and
yeah,
it was just like they're here all the time. They spend
just all the always.
They just spend a shit. So I don't think there's any sort of mistrust going on because she just leaves her kids at my house for hours at a time. Like,
I mean, maybe she doesn't like her kids.
I'm not going to comment on that one.
That hadn't crossed your mind, did it?
No.
Oh, thank God. There's somebody else's fucking problem for a little bit.
That definitely crossed my mind. I don't necessarily want to talk about that on a public podcast. I got thoughts, but anyways,
we do. We have some lines we won't cross.
Sure. Stop. This line crossing. It's like privacy. I don't know. Not that it matters. Nobody knows who my neighbors are, but whatever.
No, definitely not. Definitely with the super secret code names you've given them.
Yes, indeed. I'm very good at that. I don't know, it was weird. It was a weird situation, and
that is a weird situation.
Just made me feel weird. Like I feel like I do a pretty good job with these kids, and that was one of those instances where, like, I feel like I did a pretty good job of handling this situation, and I feel like her mom thinks I didn't because she didn't see anything else that I did.
Right.
Like I should have made her put a Band-Aid on it or something, but she kept saying, no Band-Aid, no Band-Aid. I'm like, all right, well, we can let it dry for a little bit longer. But, you know, eventually, and I was the one who said that she should tell her mom, because she should, right? Like, I shouldn't have just been like, okay, I'm going to move on now without telling your mom that you just fell on your face in your glasses. No, you should have told
her mom. You should have interrupted the hair appointment and been like, excuse me, Diana, or whatever made up name we're using. Your child put her glasses on her face and then decided to faceplant into the trampoline because for some reason, Mother of the Year. It's gonna get me in trouble. I'm sorry, but no, it's fucking highly irresponsible. You are letting small children out on a trampoline without supervision. What?
So, again, to be fair, they weren't doing stunts until I showed up because they knew they weren't allowed to do any stunts unless there was a grown-up nearby.
They were doing fucking stunts. Stop it. They were doing them. They're children. Of course they were. Of course they were. We got to do it like most other countries. Well, probably.
It's because, like, the first thing she said when she came out, she said, this trampoline is going to be the death of me. And I'm like, well, yeah, it probably is.
Well, no, probably your kids, you monster. You don't jump on it. And you didn't dig a hole like the rest of the world does. Like a lot of other countries. I don't know how many, but I have seen it. So I'm going to say most. That's the logic I'm going to use. I've seen it once or twice, so I'm going to say most other countries dig a hole in their backyard and put the trampoline in the hole so that it's ground level. So that, like, you don't go flying off of it. Now, that doesn't stop you from, like, face planting and shit.
Right.
But it does stop you from, like, you've twisted the ankle and now fallen 6 feet to the earth. Fucking whack.
Yeah, we all have them in, like, they're all in cages now, right? They have these nets that all trampolines go inside of. So it's not like, here's loose trampoline. Trampolines now come with this, like, netting that goes around it, which...
Yeah.
I mean, it's neat, but it doesn't stop what has always been, like, the things that scare me most about trampolines. Like, well, I'm just going to land on the fucking springs on the side, you know? Like, it's...
Yeah.
Trampolines
Man,
are dangerous.
I don't know. We used to take our fucking... The wheels and the trucks off our skateboards, and I forget who had a trampoline. Fucking Jesse might have, or Eddie. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Kids that I grew up with, one of them had a trampoline. We'd go out and do fucking, like, ridiculous tricks on a skateboard and, like, 360 triple kickflips and, like, all this weird shit on a trampoline. We thought we were fucking awesome. So silly. Trampolines are great. And we'll talk about them. I had some fucking major trampoline issues with this episode of Mega that we watched. We'll talk about that a little bit later, too. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you did a good
things.
job. I'd have told him to piss off. Well, God taught you a lesson. Put your fucking glasses on, do stupid shit.
Play stupid games with stupid prizes.
You're on the find out section of the bell curve. What do you want from me, kid? Put some dirt on it. You'll be all right.
Did you play any video games this week? Did you play any of the video games?
Really, not a ton. Just because of the dogs, man. Like, I can't focus on anything. I played a little bit of Pad, a little bit of Snap. I've done terrible in Snap this season because I can't fucking concentrate on anything. I can't focus, and I can't actually come out. You know, like, I have a whole shit ton of stuff I could do out on the computer out here now, thanks to one of our listeners. But I can't even be out here long enough to, like, get into the rhythm of a game. So I really haven't done much this week. I did try for a little bit while the puppies were asleep. They put out a timed demo of Ultros, which is that, like, super trippy sci-fi Metroidvania looking thing that we talked about on the games we were excited about for this year coming out. That game released, and it's an hour time demo. And I was like, man, I haven't had a solid quiet hour in a month and a half. So I'll try this in-depth, story-driven, brand new, all types of mechanics and systems to learn Metroidvania 10 to 11 minutes at a time. That'll go well.
Fucking nailed it, you know?
Oh my God.
Great idea.
It is really, really cool. Like, I legit have spent like 22 minutes with it because I can get, that's about how long the puppies are quiet, 10 to 11 minutes, and then they're jumping on each other. But in like the 20 to 22 minutes that I've spent with it, it is really, really cool. There's like this weird thing where, I haven't really spent enough time with it to really get it, but you eat the things that you kill to unlock memories, I think, is what, I don't know. I was just trying to like get through, like, there's too much reading. Fuck. I just want to get back to the combat and see how the game goes. But it seems like the higher quality of enemy that you eat, the bigger the memory chunk that you unlock. Which will have, so I haven't unlocked any of them yet, because what I thought was interesting about it, if you defeat an enemy poorly, okay, so like if you just go in there and beat the shit out of them with this first like sword that you get, if you just go in there and just wail on them instead of doing like the counter, because there's a roll button, so certain enemies will attack, you can roll through and counter attack. It's what you're supposed, like in Dread, how like you're supposed to parry enemies and whatnot. It rewards you for killing them in the right way by giving you a better quality of meat once they're dead. And it's weird, like it says in the little info box when you pick it up, it says, this meat isn't very good. It's been beaten to a pulp. Probably, it was probably handled in a very inappropriate manner, or it was just bludgeoned instead of properly taken care of. It's like, fuck you, game. I got 10 minutes. I'll fucking eat a dick. Don't judge me. I'll kill this thing as quickly as I can. But I thought that was like kind of an interesting mechanic to reward you for doing the interesting mechanics of the game, is that it would give you kind of like a bonus for doing it that way instead of just like, hey, you have to parry them or you have to kill them this way. There's like a tangible benefit to it, which I thought was kind of neat. And the game itself is very, it's like Hollow Knight if it was created by like acid heads. Does that make sense?
I guess. What is the game called again?
Urnos? Fuck. Now I can't even remember. Fuck was it called? God damn it. I said it when we started, and now I can't fucking remember.
I know, and I can't remember it either.
What the fuck is wrong with us? PS5.
Dumb,
Jesus
drunk.
Christ. Well, I am, but...
I don't know, I'm wasted.
God, I seriously, it's gone. It fucking, now that you asked me, it's gone. I have no idea what this game is called. And I literally just, I need to go to the doctor. Jesus Christ. The hell is wrong with me? God, I'm fucking looking up a list. I can't even fucking think of it. Holy shit, this is not helping me.
Can you not look at just like, here's the games I've played most recently on my PlayStation?
I don't know, probably. I do want to play, speaking of just like as an aside, it's gone on sale and I'm kind of interested in it because this one is still full price. But Blasphemous 2 has gone on sale like the last 2 sales that PlayStation has done. And I'm really interested because I really liked the first Blasphemous. I thought it was just like such a good game. Anyway, Ultros. Sorry, Ultros. There we go.
Ultros.
I say Urnos. Ultros. Ultros.
Well, okay then.
But yeah, it's really fucking cool. I'm super into it so far. I've got an hour. Like the art style is really cool. The main character is really cool looking. I don't know. I really dig it.
I'm completely unfamiliar with this one.
Yeah, it's just weirdly, it's psychedelic. It's like a psychedelic, weird robot samurai looking dude in like a really fucking trippy world. Like I said, like Hollow Knight on acid. You know, like just if Hollow Knight was all like weird bright colors and it's really fucking weird. I dig it though. That's what I've spent time with though. Like other than, you know, just some games on my phone where I could be like, all right, I don't need the sound or to really think about this all that much. I can just they just did a fucking wild. Japan Pad just had their 12th anniversary stream. Fucking, it's just crazy. And there's a bunch of new stuff that came out for that. So I've been playing through like a bunch of that. They currently have an alcohol themed character thing where like they've turned a bunch of their characters into like bartenders and shit. And they've added a bunch of new cards like Gin and Tonic and Kahlua It's just like, all right, this is where we're at. But I thought it was fucking weird. I've brought it up on the show a couple of times, but just the amount of money that like the gacha games make and whatnot. And I just saw a report today that that makes me like weirdly happy, I guess. Like because I always get kind of concerned of where, I've put a lot of time into Puzzle and Dragons, into the North American server, and I don't necessarily want it to go away. Like, I know it will stop at some point, but the worldwide server for Puzzle and Dragons reported in the last 2 months, so February and January so far of this year, when there has not been a ton of new content, not really a lot of like really exciting things, the worldwide server, which is basically everything outside of Japan, has made $900,000 in the last 2 months. Which is like, that's not bad.
I wish I had made that much money in the last 2 months.
I wish I had made $900,000. Now, the Japanese server in the last 2 months, and just to show you the difference between why Japan gets everything and the United States gets some of the things, in the last 2 months, the Japanese server, let me see, because this is a very small list, has made $29 million in the last 2 months.
That's noticeably more.
That is significantly more. And you want to, like, in China alone, I find this just fascinating. Just in China, just in February, Honkai Star Rail, which is the Hoyoverse game, just in China, $57.8 million.
It's a lot of dollars.
What the fuck, dude? That's absurd. That's absurd.
That's a lot of nuts.
A game called Blue Archive. Have you ever heard of Blue Archive?
I have not heard of Blue Archive.
Made $6 million last month worldwide. The fuck is that game? I don't even know.
I don't know, but I want in. I want to make millions of dollars.
The lowest rated game on here, the lowest rated US game, is Tact Op Symphony. It made $40,000 in January and $15,000 last month. Like, now that is a significant drop off month to month, but a game that I have never fucking heard of. And I play a lot of mobile games. I get a lot of mobile game ads served to me. Made $55,000 in 2 months. What are we doing wrong, Kris? We just gotta come up with a video game. Like, and I don't even think that we should really bury the lead. I think we just call our game Big Titted Anime Girls. Like, we just put it right out there.
I mean, maybe we could abbreviate it. Call our game BTAG.
BTAG! What a good name.
Yeah.
BTAG, you're it. Oh, it's so good. It fucking sells itself. And it's not even a game. It's not even a game. You just fucking pull different cards of different big-titted anime girls, and like if you shake their phone, they'll fucking shake around. Oh my god.
And I guess you have to, like, all you got to do is you have to tag your friends in it, right? So the more friends, so basically a pyramid scheme, right?
Yeah, basically.
You play B-tag, you're it. You know, they'll tag their friends and they'll tag their friends, and tagging your friends gets you bonus girls or something like that. And then we just go.
We have
going from there.
Some sort, whatever cheeky currency we came up with.
Right.
Yeah. Get you bonus fucking tokens or fucking, I don't know, VHS tapes. Fucking Jesus. This sounds like a really good idea.
It's money in the bank.
And you can just imagine the commercials. I already got. Do we have the fucking script for me to read about a dirty PCB? Because we might as well throw that in here too.
Not yet. I'll be sure to come up with one.
BTAG, you're it. Like, oh, gross. Gross, but I'm weirdly in.
All right, let's see. Let's try not to make this another 2-part episode.
Okay, sorry. Yeah.
I have been played a little bit more Metal Gear Solid. I've tried to do it every night, but this week I just didn't a couple of nights. We watched an episode of Harley Quinn instead, and then I went to bed. But I'm just about at the end. I'm on disc 2. I'm at Metal Gear and running around doing the key cards and different temperatures and stuff. So I'm pretty much at the end. And
you just got to fight Liquid on top of the Metal Gear now.
Shirtless, right? Isn't that a shirtless fight?
Yeah, of course it is. It's very sexy.
It's been a very long time. But the game continues to be wonderful. The writing is... I think I said before that I was pretty sure this game was written by like a 13-year-old boy. I remember this stuff being holding such gravity when I was younger. Like, just make the movie this. Like, all you got to do is make the movie this. And now I'm just like, my God, I can't play this game without headphones on. I'm embarrassed by listening to these people talk. Like, this is fucking terrible.
It's not quite that bad, but
the
also
first
keep
one
in mind,
is the first one is like listening. God, every time you save the game and you listen to Mei Ling like talking 8th grade philosophy class with Snake while violins are playing in the background. Yeah, that fucking is. No. No.
I mean, there really hadn't been anything like that, though.
Exactly. There was nothing like it.
There's a learning curve there.
It's still so entertaining to me because
so fucking good.
The script is fucking terrible, but the actors are fucking selling this shit. Like, they are 150,000% in, which is what makes it work. And the gameplay is also really good. Back when Metal Gear Solid had gameplay instead of just movies. So that's... I'm very interested to finish this one off and move on to 2. I don't think I'm going to have time to play through 2 and 3. And seeing as I've never played through 3, I want to put like an hour into 2 just to get a grip on what it's like, because that's the one that has the technical issues. Right. That's the one that runs at inconsistent frame rates. That's the one that people complain about. I'm pretty sure 3 runs just fine, and 1 obviously runs just fine too. So that's neat. But more importantly, my Mario vs. Donkey Kong finally showed up. I played through like the first area in that. I did the first Donkey Kong boss. And that game just sparked a whole thing in my head of like, I spent $50 on this. And I don't regret it. I don't regret it in the least. And you know what? I bet there's a lot of other people who don't regret it in the least either. This game is just fine. It's a fun little thing. It's probably not going to sell a bajillion copies, but it's also probably going to it's probably going to turn a profit just fine. And then I look at the news of this week, which we'll get to in a bit, and I look at this game like, they don't make these games anymore. Nobody else makes these games anymore, except indies, which is a pretty different animal from a first party doing it. Nobody makes these games anymore. That is a huge fucking problem. There is nothing sustainable about what's going on anywhere else in the gaming space, where Nintendo's just living on a whole other fucking planet.
Yeah, they really are.
They're the only ones out there running a sustainable fucking business. And it's baffling to me, especially Sony. Because I'm playing Metal Gear Solid, and that was PlayStation 1. And that was a system that had Metal Gear Solid and fucking Frogger, right? This is a system that had big budget games and smaller budget games. This was a system that had an active ecosystem that was healthy. There were big budget games like Metal Gear Solid, right? There were these new projects that were ambitious, like Final Fantasy VII. But there was a ton of other stuff that was Ape Escape,
Yeah. That was Blasto. I guess you're just talking first party kind of stuff, but
right. Yeah. They don't do that anymore. It's just,
that's not,
it's just
not entirely fair. Because you're right. They don't do it often. But like the big release with the PlayStation 5 that people loved was Astro's Playroom. That was a small little thing, and people fucking love that game.
And that was years ago.
Lot of the sure, it was.
Generally speaking, PlayStation's business model
wrong.
is like, you know, they have consistently been pulling back farther and farther from doing anything that isn't the big quadruple A, massively expensive tentpole first single player story driven thing, or fucking live service or something. I don't know, but for the most part, that's the Sony thing. Is like Last of Us, Spider-Man, God of War, and like there's so much more to gaming than that, and we're seeing the repercussions of it focusing exclusively on stuff like that now ripple throughout the industry. But anyway, we'll get to that in a little bit. Mario vs. Donkey Kong is a neat game. Today in particular, yesterday was February 29th. So I played the last level of Daily Dadish, which was nice. The radish had a little hat on. So that was fun. That's officially behind me. Daily Dadish was a wonderful experience. There was brand new DLC for Vampire Survivors out of friggin' nowhere. It was short. It was a couple new characters, and one of the new characters is fucking Batman, which is really funny. I forget what I forget what they name him in the game, because clearly they don't call him Batman. But I remembered his name has like the word bat in it, and I'm explaining it to John before I had unlocked the character. I picked him up from school, and I'm like, oh, there was new Vampire Survivors DLC. And one of the characters, I can't remember his name, he has like bat in his name or something. He's like, is it Batman? It's like, no, it's not Batman. They can't put Batman in Vampire Survivors. Like, that would be really cool if Batman was in Vampire Survivors. So then I spend I spend the rest of the evening working on unlocking this character, and then I do, and it's fucking Batman. It's like, it's just Batman off-brand enough to not be named Batman, because it's fucking Vampire Survivors, and this game's goofy as hell. I'm like, so I will go upstairs, and I'm like, John, unlock the other character. It's fucking Batman. You were right. It's fucking Batman.
Good job, John.
I love it. I love it. It was really fun. Spent like an hour or so just unlocking a couple extra characters, getting some new weapons, and life is good. And most important of all, though, the biggest one of all to me was Runner 2 is finally on the fucking Switch.
Yeah,
and oh my god,
that's pretty awesome. It's been about time. So I have in my head consistently said that Runner 2 is my favorite one. But just to kind of, run myself up to it, was playing a little bit more of the first Runner. I played a little bit of Runner, the original Runner, and then I played a little bit of Runner 3, and I was like, man, these games are really freaking good. And then I played Runner 2, I was like, this is so much better. Runner 2 is the perfect expression of that gameplay. It's like it's so much more refined than the original game. It's fucking gorgeous. Runner 3 was more ambitious, but sure,
it got in its own way with all the ambition. It's still a fantastic game. Runner 2 is that perfect sweet spot. I've just been enjoying the shit out of it. And it's also Karen's favorite game ever. So she's just over the moon to be able to have that on the Switch to, play when she's not playing Suika game. And it loads up so much faster on Switch. It's ridiculous. Like, as soon as it started, I was like, whoa, that was near instantaneous. That's wild. I seem to remember this having a lot longer loading times because it was on fucking Wii U. And it's also really nice. I know I could have played it on other platforms, but I just never did because I own the Wii U version. The Wii U version never got Pro Controller support. It was only ever the fucking gamepad. So it was really nice to be able to play this game with a regular controller. So, yay.
That is kind of nice.
There was also a Star Wars Dark Forces got remastered. I've never played that before, but I finally looked into it. I was like, oh, so this is like Doom, but Star Wars. Like, obviously, that's
kind of
massive
not
oversimplification.
Really,
but like just looking at it, like, oh, that's this era of first person shooter, but Star Wars. I could probably get into that. So that's on my wish list. And Euphoria 2 came out today. It's $25. I'm thinking about it. We'll see. I was going to throw some money at Limited Run today for the Contra physical edition, since they said that the frame rate's going to get fixed, and I really want to buy RZ physically too, but money's a bit tighter than I want it to be, and I'm trying to save up for stuff, so it's like, okay, don't need these things. I could just save the money and buy them digitally. I'll probably regret it with Contra in particular in the future, but
I feel like Contra is one of the ones that you should have physically.
Right? I would regret not if it turns out as good as Contra 4, I'm going to regret not having it physically. But money's just tight. Money is tight. I could theoretically get a review copy of Contra, or it's probably going to be cheaper digitally, which a lot of these games have turned out to be, which is the way it fucking should be. But
100%.
It's that thing. It's that like, well, do I hold off? Like, I was fortunate enough to get a review code of RZ, right? So I've played that game and it was free to me.
Right.
I really liked it, but do I need to have it physically? Like, I'm looking at it now. I was like, well, it's only $35, but I'm buying a game I technically already own for $35 more. Like, to have it on a game card, is that really going to come up? Is that going to be a problem for me in the future? And it's like, ugh.
Is that going to be a thing I need?
Yeah, because I missed out on the fucking Messenger. Like, I can't get that game for under $200 now, which is not going to happen. Well, and that's one of those games that's really important.
That's the fucking shitty part about it, right? That's like the really, really shitty part about the whole thing, is that you just don't know, like.
Yeah, there's no way to tell if it's going to be something like Horizon Chase Turbo wasn't hard for me to get. Like, okay, well, cool. I needed a physical copy of Horizon Chase Turbo for my library of, like, these are the games that defined this system. I need to have those physically. So I was able to track down Sayonara Wild Hearts and Horizon Chase Turbo, no problem. Like, it were relatively affordable, and they were all limited releases. I was like, but there they are. But The Messenger is one of those ones that just has that kind of audience, and it was like, no, this game, no matter how many copies of them, it's not rare. It's not uncommon.
No, there's
not a rarity issue. It's an I know what I have issue. I am not going to sell this for anything less than a 7,000% profit over what I paid for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I hate it.
I don't disagree. I do not disagree. There are a few games, right, where it's just, like, you just don't know.
Yeah, there's no way to tell ahead of time.
I do think you will be upset if you don't have Contra physically.
I think I will be too. I'm because I am who I am, I'm technically upset that I don't have Contra Rogue Core physically.
Yeah, which is weird.
It's weird that game costs any money.
Is the hottest of ass.
That's the thing. I held off on buying that one because, like, there's no way I'm not going to be able to buy this game for dirt fucking cheap. And I think I found it at Best Buy brand new for like $12. And I was like, still not enough. This needs to be on super clearance. And it just never happened. And now it's like, well, here I could buy one on eBay for $30, but I don't fucking want to.
Don't want to. I'm looking right now. I just pulled it up on eBay. The last sold copy of Inscription for PS5. So Special Reserve Games Edition, Sony PlayStation 5, sold for $300 fucking dollars.
And that's the thing that really gets me, is that these are priced this way because people will pay that. And I don't understand who has that kind of fuck you money to just be like, no, yeah, sure. I'll drop $300 on this.
You've been there when you're trying to complete the set and that thing is out there. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck, I have to get it. Gotta get it. I don't have a choice.
I do. I understand. I forget that I used to be younger than I am.
Yeah. Like, I'm looking, a Switch copy though sold for $180, and like I'm trying to think like what. Now the $300 one is the special edition, like a regular copy of Inscription on PS5, but like sold for $285, $225 on the Switch. Like it sold for a lot of money, man. And I don't know what the price is that I would see it and be like, all right, I know that this is a limited thing. What's the price that I would pay for Inscription? But I don't think it's much more than like $60-$70.
It's not $300.
Like no, it's definitely not that much. I'll tell you that for free. It's definitely not that much.
All right, we need to move on. But before we transition to week old news, we do have some listener request here. Trashman on the Discord writes, just caught the rest of 502. Thought it was funny. Kris was suggesting Rare Replay would sell like hotcakes on the Nintendo, and then we got a sample of that in the last Direct, which I feel is confirmation that it won't be coming to Switch at all. I couldn't agree more. It's definitely not coming to Switch now. Oh, that's what I forgot to write down. I played through and didn't beat Snake Rattle and Roll because there is no amount of rewind feature that will ever make the final boss of that game even remotely fun to play. So I just don't.
So I just didn't.
Using rewind to get through those last couple of stages was like, God, the last couple of stages of this game are brutal. I would never ever be able to beat that game without a Game Genie. So that was fun. I did that, and I did. I played a little more IC Pro-Am. I haven't put any more time into Killer Instinct or Battletoads yet. I do want to put a little more time into Battletoads. I want to see where that game goes because I don't know most of anything about it. And
this is the Super Nintendo Battletoads, right?
Yeah, the Super Nintendo one.
The Super Nintendo Chalmers
on there. Yeah. Yes. But anyway, the discussion around which games Microsoft could put on other platforms to hypothetically lure people to their own console makes me consider, what if the shoe was on the other foot? What titles would Nintendo put on the PS5 or Series X? Strangely, I feel like Splatoon or Metroid would be a good choice. What do you think, Dan? What games would Nintendo put on PS5 or Series X to try and direct people back to their system?
Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, the Metroid Prime remastered trilogy. Those I think would sell just a fucking stupid amount.
I definitely agree with Trashman about
on the fucking PlayStation.
I agree with Trashman about Splatoon. I feel like if Splatoon was on the other platforms as well and there was crossplay, that would just not that it hasn't already blown up, but it would blow up a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
Let's see. I guess I don't disagree.
Splatoon would be a good one. Like, I don't think, because Mario's not going to do it.
No.
Right? Mario's not the one. Like, that's not.
Mario's not going to direct you back
gamer,
to Nintendo platformer. It's just not.
Right. No, it just isn't. And that's okay that it isn't. Like, that's okay.
I'm certain it would sell, but I don't think it would do anything for Nintendo as far as, like, coaxing people into trying out their ecosystem.
But see, like, that's also kind of the thing too, though. Like, I don't think that the goal there would be to get people back to your ecosystem necessarily. It's just sell more games, make more money.
Right, but that's the question. The question that Trashman is asking is what would make that happen? Hypothetically luring people to your own console by putting games on the other. What games do you think would do that? That's the question that's being asked. Not necessarily what we think should, but like what if that was the case? If Nintendo was putting games on other platforms in order to entice people to try out their ecosystem, which games should they do? Not what Nintendo games would sell best on which platforms.
Yeah, I mean, I still think the answer is the same. Maybe the fucking the F-Zero shit.
Oh, the 99 games?
The 99 stuff. I think that could be really fun. And get people to really like invest and care, that sort of thing. Yeah, I don't know. It's an interesting question for sure.
Yeah, I think you hold off on Tears of the Kingdom. I think you just do Breath of the Wild, and then if you love Breath of the Wild, you get Tears of the Kingdom on Switch. Like that. That's what you come back to Nintendo for, kind of a thing. Well, that's a pretty solid call.
I think that's, all due respect, I think there's somewhat of a flaw in that question ultimately, because if I'm playing Tears of the Kingdom on the PlayStation 5 or on the Xbox or whatever, my assumption is that I'm going to have a smoother experience, just less loading times, that sort of thing. Now, does that get me excited for a Switch 2, like the successor to the Switch? Probably, but like to jump back to the Switch itself, I just don't know. I don't know that any of those games exist, honestly. I don't even know that, like, if Sony were to put God of War on the Xbox, people would be like, well, I gotta get a fucking PlayStation and see what else they got, because I already got God of War. I got the thing. So I don't need to go back for the other games you're not going to give me. I don't know that exists. It is an interesting question.
It is indeed. And thank you, Trash Man, for asking it. And with that,
I do think there's a deeper conversation to be had about that at some point.
But perhaps, now we must transition. We must move on to week old news.
We must.
This week in week old news, we have much to discuss. First things first, this got a lot of conversation in the Discord this week. Time Extension reports 3DS Virtual Boy emulation gives you 3D without the headaches. I have not tried this because I have not jailbroken my 3DS, but it does seem like a pretty neat thing. The Red Viper is a Virtual Boy emulator on 3DS that apparently does the 3D wonderfully well. I don't know.
It really hammers home the point. And I know we had brought it up years ago.
Everybody
kind of
did.
Flippantly, somewhat in passing. And yeah, no, we certainly weren't breaking new ground by bringing it up. But like, how did you not do that?
This is such an opportunity to take advantage of, the weird mystique surrounding the Virtual Boy, but also to finally make some money on these games.
Yeah.
A dude did this.
A guy. Singular.
You didn't need to dedicate a ton of resources to this. You just needed to do it. And this was your one opportunity to sell that 3D gimmick on these specific games. You didn't even have to do the entire consoles line. You don't have to track down the rights to fucking Waterworld. You just had to do the ones that you
Nobody
published.
wanted Waterworld.
Maybe just cut into the
Wario. That's it.
Get
just
Wario
a Wario.
Land, get Mario Clash, get Jack Brothers on there. I'm sure Atlas would be perfectly fine to do that. Like, there were 14 games released in North America on this system. Get 10 of them.
That's nothing.
I'm just should have happened. It should have happened. I'm glad that it has happened now through a third-party emulator. I wish I'd have to jailbreak my system to do it, but whatever. I
do want to check it out because that Wario game is so good.
It really is. I started playing again last time I had my Virtual Boy out. I put like a half hour into it. It's like, man, this game is really fun. This game's really well done. Anyways, moving on. Let's see if we can't group some of these together. Destructoid Destructoid reports Sony announces it's cutting about 900 goddamn jobs and is closing a London studio. This has been a brutal year for the game industry so far, and that's not even all, because we also have let's see, Electronic Arts is shutting down Studio Ridgeline Games, and it also did some mass layoffs with 5% of its workforce, which roughly equates to about 670 employees. That comes from Pure Xbox with that report. But it's not all terrible news. As much as I absolutely hate that we have even more of that nonsense going down, there are a few other things that I think are interesting that are happening right now. Embracer Group, which had been making acquisition after acquisition after acquisition a couple of years ago and is now tanking because you don't just go around buying everything without a plan on what you're going to do with them.
Shocking. I know.
Saber Interactive and possibly Gearbox are being sold off to different companies. Like they're instead of being closed down, there are other companies interested in purchasing those two. So that's kind of cool to see that. But the one that I think is the coolest is Toys for Bob, which is going fully independent.
Which is great.
That is such great news. Like, that's the kind of thing I love to see. We're like, okay, Activision owns this company who made them a fuck ton of money with the Crash Insane trilogy. I mean, an absolute metric fucked. That game sold so many freaking copies on every platform it released for. It was insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was insane. They had huge success with the Spyro Reignited trilogy. Crash 4 apparently didn't take off as well as they wanted it to, but I can't shake the feeling that game sold just fine. Like, I can't shake the feeling that game probably sold a very respectable amount of copies. It just wasn't Activision number of copies.
It wasn't Call of Duty, so it sucks.
Wasn't bottomless greed numbers of copies. So here we have Toys for Bob splits from Activision and Xbox and goes independent. But during this announcement, they said something about wanting to work with. They're excited to work on new projects, and they want to work with Microsoft again, which makes me think, right? If Crash 4 was really as good a game as people said it was, I didn't play it.
Yeah.
I don't like Crash Bandicoot all that much. But maybe Crash 4 is actually a good game, because the original Crash Bandicoot is a piece of shit. So maybe Crash 4 actually is a good game. Maybe this is the company that's going to reach off to Microsoft and say, we will make a new Banjo-Kazooie for you. And wouldn't that just be fucking something? Because then, as an indie studio, they could put it everywhere. You know, they could put it on multiple platforms. It seems like a good fit to me. But I don't know. Regardless of anything,
it does.
The fact that these big, horrid companies are firing all these employees, laying them off, is terrible. But seeing some good come out of it, of like, these studios might not actually close. Maybe some people will keep their jobs. That's really refreshing to see. It's not. I feel like it's a very uncommon thing. So I'm really glad to see, especially the Toys for Bob thing.
It's wild, right? When you think about Spider-Man 2 is the best-selling PlayStation 5 game. Kind of unsurprisingly, right? Of course it is. It would either be Spider-Man 2 or God of War Ragnarok. It's like one of those two is definitely going to be the best-selling game on the system. Spider-Man 2 cost Insomniac somewhere around $350 million to make. Between tech and salaries and all of those things. So when you are releasing a product where you have to make $351 million to turn a profit, that is just an unsustainable business model.
It really is.
It just, we have gotten to a point where all of this shit is so absurd. And don't get me wrong, it was my game of the year last year. I think Spider-Man 2 is fucking brilliant. It's also weirdly part of the reason why I haven't wanted to jump into a lot of other games currently is because they're not Spider-Man 2. Like, I want DLC for that. I just want to go back and play that some more. I just literally have nothing left to do in that game. There's just nothing else. I can just randomly go beat up some symbiotes, but like, that's not, I want more of that game. But still, even with as good as that game is, $350 million? That is, and they're like, they're not alone in that amount of money for making a fucking video game. When you then look at, I just read a couple fucking games. I don't know how much it costs Puzzle and Dragons North America to run their servers, but they made $900,000 in the last 2 months. And I promise you it didn't cost them $900,000 yet to fucking develop anything for Puzzle and Dragons. Like, it's just, we're in this really weird fucking space where these massive AAA games need to sell at such a number to justify their expense. Like, you don't want to see anybody lose their jobs, certainly, but you just kind of, I understand how we've gotten to this point. I'm not happy that we've gotten to this point, certainly, because there are so many of those smaller experiences like Astro's Playroom, which is still a first-person Sony title, but that's like a AA title, you know, to keep with the sports metaphor. You know, and there is a decided lack of that from everyone but Nintendo. You know, Nintendo exists in their own thing. Like, and they say it all the time of like, the Switch is not really competition for the PlayStation 5. The movie theater is competition for PlayStation 5. You know, streaming services that we're dropping a ton of money on. Like, they just exist in totally different worlds. And I don't know. I kind of hate it. I love all the indie studios that are out. I love a lot of the big budget games, but it's just an unsustainable practice. I don't see how you can just keep doing that going forward.
Yeah, and it's everybody. You know, you look at Square and everyone jumping on the live service train, and it was all so obviously unsustainable from the get-go. When we started seeing, you know, excuse me, I started talking about this around the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 era, because that's when the waves started crashing that long ago. Remember when Electronic Arts and Capcom, they were coming up with new ideas. They were like, you know what? Mirror's Edge. Capcom's gonna try Dark Void and that weird Bionic Commando where his wife was his arm. Like, they were willing to take chances. They were willing to take a shot and see what stuck. And then any of those projects not selling became the end of the world. It's like, well, this sold okay, but it didn't sell. It made some money, but it didn't make all of the money. And that's the difference between a sane person and a fucking video game CEO, because it's never
an
about
executive.
I think Jim Sterling said it best. James Stephanie Sterling, said it best when it's like, we don't want a lot of the money, we want all of the money. All of it. It's not an exaggeration. It's not. There has to be infinite growth. Every year you need to make more money than the last, and if you didn't, then you have failed. And that doesn't make any fucking sense. People only have so much time. So if everybody's got 5 different live service games that require 7 to 8 hours of play per day, that's like another job. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's just not going to happen.
None of this makes sense. You're never going to get enough people to play all of these games. It's impossible. There aren't enough hours for people to do it. There isn't enough money for anybody to have to be able to do it. And yes, whales exist, which is fucking gross, but you can't build an entire business model off of that. And if you do, you're irresponsible. And that's where we've gone. Look at the unfettered opulence of Final Fantasy VII right now. This is fucking nuts. And yes, these games are very good, but if I've heard one complaint about both remake and now rejiggered, or whatever the fuck this one's called, is that there's padding. That there's chunks of the game that are just there to take up space. And
yeah.
Well, then why didn't somebody edit this and just make it one game? Like, what?
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Why are you expanding this into a whole fucking series?
I'm positive it does not need to be 2 discs. If you are shipping me a game that is 2 Blu-rays worth of content, fuck, man.
Out of your goddamn minds. And just completely off the reservation. And, like, so here's this thing. Final Fantasy VII Rebreakers is happening right now, and I'm over here happily playing my $50 copy of Mario vs. Donkey Kong, which probably cost Nintendo $50-$60 to make. I'm sure it was more than that, but like,
well, oh sure,
it's unbelievable to me, the difference between a sustainable business and this is just so obviously unsustainable. You just look at it with your eyes and say, look at that. That doesn't work. I'm looking at it logically. This doesn't make any fucking sense. And the shareholders are like, no, money, more, all of it, all of the money. I don't want most of their money. I want everyone broke except me. All
and I'm
of
making it today. I don't care about tomorrow. I want to know how much money I made today. It's interesting too. Kitase, who is in charge of the Final Fantasy VII project, was on a podcast recently and brought up, you know, I don't know how, if the host of the podcast led him into this question, or if he just kind of brought it up on his own. But he was like, you know, I wonder what fans would want out of a Chrono Trigger re-release.
Right.
Remake.
That's
redo,
one of the stories I was going to talk about here.
Oh, well, okay. And nothing. I just want you to put it on the PlayStation 5, the Switch, and the series. I don't want you to do literally anything else to that game. I don't want you to make it prettier. That game, it doesn't fucking need anything else.
No, you know what? The Steam release that they've got cooking right now with widescreen support and all that.
Perfect. Done.
That's fine.
That's the one. Do not do the Final Fantasy VII thing to it.
Don't do the Final Fantasy VII thing. I will say this. There is one thing that there's exactly one instance where I would want to see Chrono Trigger redone, right? If you're going to remake Chrono Trigger, there's exactly one way I want to see it look, and that is Dragon Ball FighterZ. Make that game just 100% the exact same game, okay? You don't move anything. Gameplay 100%
don't change
identical.
The story. Don't do anything to it.
A thing. Don't change the way it feels to control. Just redo the sprites, okay? Not even different sizes. But use the graphics engine of FighterZ. I want it to look like an Akira Toriyama cartoon. I don't need dynamic cameras. I don't need any of that shit. Just make it look like that. That's all I would want, right? Because, like, there was a very, very brief bit of, like, actual Chrono Trigger anime in Japan. There's that animated cutscene that they put in the beginning of the PlayStation version. I fucking love it. I love seeing those characters drawn like that. Nothing against the sprite work. It's amazing. But, like, I fucking love Toriyama's art. So make it, just make that game exactly as it is, to the point where you could press a button and swap between the classic and modern graphics, you know, like they did with, like, the Dragon's Trap, just like the Modern Way Through the Dragon's Trap. Literally that game, except with prettier graphics. That's all you should ever do to Chrono Trigger. And I don't want that HD 2D nonsense. I don't want it to look like the sprites are floating over a background. That it's a very cool look, but you don't need to. That's not this game. Do not do that to Chrono Trigger, because that's not what that game should look like. That's it. Leave it alone. Don't expand it into a 19-game, multi-billion-dollar project. Fuck off with that nonsense.
It's a weird fucking world that we live in currently, where video games cost that fucking much money to make. But then at the same time, you have a thing like Pizza Tower, which took the internet by storm last year, It's got all types of merch and plushies and all this shit. And it was like 4 or 5 dudes who fucking made that game. It's made like $2 million, $3 million. It has changed those people's lives. You know? But then at the same token, you know, when you were talking about like the live service thing, that's why shit like Fortnite is so smart. Like Fortnite.
Yeah, look at the most popular games in the world. Fortnite doesn't look like Final Fantasy VII Remake.
No,
Fortnite doesn't have jaw-dropping, insanely detailed graphics. Yeah.
But it's free. They make their money on microtransactions, which is a whole other ball of disgusting. It really is. But what's nice about it, ultimately, is that the kid who's broke but has a system can play Fortnite. You know? They don't need to drop $70 on the most popular, newest, biggest thing. Fortnite is still destroying everything else in the United States because it costs $0. Right? You can make your money on microtransactions, but you don't fucking need to. There are enough, as you said, there's enough whales in the game that will pay for the Spider-Man skin and the Miss Marvel skin and the Batman skin and the fucking whoever skin, whatever V-Bucks and all that other shit. But there's still, at least there's a product out there that, I don't know, it feels a little bit better. But when Fortnite exists, what the fuck is the Suicide Squad doing? What are you doing? Why did you do that? Ignoring all the other stuff that's wrong with Suicide Squad, like, and the Avengers game. Why did you make that a fucking live? So what are you doing?
Well, they were trying to get the infinite money.
Fortnite.
You're not trying to get the infinite money. They're just looking at well, if we make this a live service, then people don't buy the game once. They buy it over and over and over again. We get infinite money forever from the live service.
But Fortnite did that already. Like, Fortnite did the thing.
I know. We know it because we have brains. But everybody else, all the executives look at it and say, well, this is just an endless cycle of money, so we have to do that. So we will have infinite money forever. Speaking of terrible business decisions, Sega seems to be coming to grips with the fact that releasing Sonic Superstars on the same platform a few days away from Super Mario Bros. Wonder was possibly a bad idea.
You think?
Maybe. Just maybe.
Boy.
I think that's absolutely hilarious that the story... Everybody could have told you that, Sega. Everybody.
Everybody did tell you that.
Everybody, in fact, did. Looked at you and said,
headline,
this is a bad idea.
What are you guys doing? Don't do that.
Why are you launching against Mario Wonder? Like, I understand, like, Spider-Man came out at the same time, but that's kind of a different audience. Like, it probably would have been silly to release it against Spider-Man on its own had Mario not been there. But you're literally launching a 2D Sonic against a 2D Mario. What were you thinking?
Yeah, like for better or worse, we've already had that discussion. Sega does not make a platform anymore. We've already, that conversation's been ended. People made their choice. It was not Sega. That's okay.
Yeah.
2 weeks. 2 weeks later would have made all the difference in the world.
Or earlier. One or the other.
One or the other, yeah.
Just
earlier would have been better. Earlier would have been
don't
better.
Don't do it the same month. Don't do it the same month.
I would imagine,
get away from
having not played either of the two, I would imagine Wonder, like, objectively, as far as like a gaming experience is concerned, I would imagine Wonder is a better game than Superstars.
That is my understanding.
I don't know that to be a fact. I don't care one way or another. I know, like, there's subjective opinions and all of that. I would just, based on the fact it's a new Nintendo 2D Mario where they really actually tried this time versus the annualization of the Sonic franchise that Sega seems to be going with, I would have to hazard a guess that Wonder is a better thing. Not that Superstars is bad, but that Wonder is better. So earlier, release it 2 weeks before Wonder, everybody buys it, and they're like, oh, this is fucking great. We finished it. Now I can't wait to play Wonder. Yeah, like, you don't put it on, like, 3 days apart? What the fuck's wrong with you? It's real dumb. It's real dumb.
What's less dumb Sorry, I can't make a transition. I have no idea how to do this.
No, it's fine.
I have a different story here from Nintendo Life. Rare 80s Super Mario figures have been preserved via 3D scanning. I didn't know that was a thing. People preserve old action figures by 3D scanning them. That's wild.
Yeah, there's a whole market on eBay of people selling parts for quote-unquote customs for like Marvel Legends and the McFarlane toys and whatever, and they're scanned and 3D printed copies of other toys, scaled up, scaled down, in scale with whatever it is that they're selling. People will do their own like custom head sculpts for things, and then 3D print those. Like there's this huge like underground toy market going on, which is kind of cool. 3D printers fascinate me. They fascinate me. I want one. I wouldn't do anything with it.
Machines.
Be like, oh look, I made boobs. You know, like I would do something stupid with it. But they are, that to me feels like the future. You know, we don't have the flying cars, but I can just like make a thing. That's kind of cool.
Well, last but not least, we'll get this one from Kotaku as a breakdown here. There was a Pokemon Presents this week. There was some Terra Raid battles coming to Scarlet and Violet. Captain Pikachu is coming to Pokemon Go. Some more information on Pokemon Sleep. Pokemon Masters, Pokemon Cafe Remix, Pokemon Unite, blah 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 blah. The big stuff was that there's the trading card game is coming to mobile phones.
Yeah,
which looks like you're going to get like 2 free packs a day or something. Like this just sounds like a drug deal, like right out of the bag.
It really does. It really does. But it also makes a lot of sense.
Oh, it really does. Like it seems neat. So good on you. Great call. And then the other one big news is Pokemon Legends ZA. I said new Switch game coming out in 2025. So there you go.
That's exciting. Yeah. What I learned from this Pokemon Direct is that there are a lot more Pokemon games than I realized. Yeah. There's a lot of fucking Pokemon shit going around out there in the world.
Pokemon Unite, Pokemon Untie.
Any of this is.
It's a lot. There's a lot of it. Well, there you go. That's week-old news, everybody. And with that, we are going to take ourselves a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the super fighting robot, Mega Man. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from Geekade.com. Stick around. Hi everyone, Kris here. Podcast listening is free, but podcast creation is not. That's why the Geekade Patreon exists. In an effort to help us pay the bills, we've got a Patreon page set up where you can gain access to our monthly podcast topic schedule, get early access to many of our shows, and more. If you'd like to help support Geekade and keep these shows running week after week, head over to the Geekade Patreon page, linked in the show notes of this very podcast.
We are Safe at Home, the leading dog rescue in the heart of New Jersey. Are you searching for a loyal companion, a dog that will bring love and joy to your home? Look no further than Safe at Home. At Safe at Home, we believe in giving every dog a second chance. We rescue, rehabilitate, and find loving forever homes for dogs in need, right here in the Garden State. Our dogs are ready to make a lasting impact on your life. Each one has a unique story, a wagging tail, and an incredible capacity for love. When you adopt from Safe at Home, you're not just gaining a pet, you're becoming a part of our family. Our dedicated team ensures a seamless adoption process, providing ongoing support and guidance. With New Jersey's beautiful parks, beaches, and trails, you and your new furry friend will have endless opportunities for adventures and cherished memories. Safe at Home relies on the support of compassionate individuals like you. Your donations and volunteer work enable us to continue saving lives and finding forever homes for these amazing dogs. Join us in creating a safer, happier community for dogs in New Jersey. Together we can make a difference and give every dog the chance to feel safe at home. Visit our website or call us now to learn about how you can be a part of the Safe at Home mission. Safe at Home, because every dog deserves to be loved and protected. www.safeathomerescue.org.
Okay, we are back. Welcome to the SAG Cartoon Express, where we talk about old video game cartoons. Choo-choo, motherfuckers. I will say that I did spend... This is another thing that put me behind schedule this week. I lost about an hour and a half to working on the Cartoon Express. There are 2 cartoons that need to be, like, organized and, like, cut into individual episodes and stuff. To add to our queue of random episodes to pick
to
from.
The rotation.
I am 3/4 of the way through. Oh, what the fuck is that show called? I have it here. The Power Team. Like 3/4 of the way through the Power Team. The Power Team was the Acclaim cartoon.
Oh
so
my god!
Quirk, Bigfoot, like the monster truck Bigfoot, and Kuros from Wizards and Warriors. But the file that Evan got was every episode, because it was part of a show called Video Power. So this is just the Power Team animated segments split out.
Wow.
And they're in order, but they're all one continuous, like one file. So we couldn't like pick individual episodes. So I'm splitting them up into the individual episodes so that we can add them to the Plex server so that we can have random episodes of it. I'm about 3/4 of the way through the series, but it was taking too much time. I was like, all right, this is not what I need to be doing with my life now. As much as I want to, I got to stop and move on to something else. So unfortunately, Power Team and the Saturday Supercade are not in the mix yet, but we have them. They just need to be organized and shuffled in. It will happen over time. Don't worry, we have plenty of other shows to choose from. But regardless, what we're talking about today is Mega Man Season 2, Episode 12, Bad Day at Peril Park, originally aired November 26th, 1995. I have thoughts. Did you watch the show regularly when it was on?
Yes, I did.
Me too.
I thought it was
fucking loved this
awesome.
Show. Fucking loved this show.
There's so much wrong with it. First of all,
oh my god,
it's so much better than Bubsy. Dear God.
Oh well, yeah,
so much better.
Not a high bar, but yes, 100% agree.
Why is this episode so sexy? It's a very sexy episode.
Was it a sexy? I didn't mention it. I didn't notice.
Why does Mega Man know Gutsman from just his ass?
Oh,
first of all,
that was a whole internet meme. The Gutsman's ass thing, like it was a whole meme.
I know. But why
Gutsman's? That was amazing. It was amazing. He rips off the suit, just the
tail
ass of the
a kangaroo,
and immediately it's Gutsman, and they just camera close up on his ass. What is happening? Who came up with this?
Then there's
Were they laughing when they did this? Were they like,
I hope so.
Or was this just the best they could come up with? Like, I'm so curious.
Then there was one of the commercial breaks. They have like the static, Mega Man, and like he's there, or roll on one image. But then one of the images was Rush
at the end doing the "Pay me like one of your French girls."
Pay me like one of your French girls pose. Like, what the fuck is happening?
And that was in every episode. I remember that crystal clear. That pose and him on every episode.
It's a strangely horny show. It's very weird.
Oh my god!
Here's the main issue that I had with this episode, Chris. It has nothing to do with the content or tone or anything like that. the animation is pretty cool for the most part, except when they just decide to not give a fuck about proportionality at all.
Are you talking about that one scene with the kid's hand?
Because
that one stuck out to... Obviously, there was a lot of that. There's one where the kid's hand is like the Everlong Foo Fighters video, where he's just got his hand out, and it's like 10 times larger than it should be.
Well, there's that one.
What the fuck was that?
One of the fucking harpoons that Mega Man shoots through the Leviathan. It's this giant fucking monster. And it goes through the monster's entire fucking head. And like Mega Man apparently shot that out. But then minutes later, he shoots one at Gutsman. And Gutsman just like catches it and is like, oh, I'll just bend this tiny little fucking harpoon in. Like, what the fuck is that? There's one where like, there was one scene where Mega Man shoots the fucking top of the tram car out to like jump out and start shooting at the flying saucers. And it looks like he jumps like 50 feet into the fucking air to get through this hole. But then he lands on top and like Mega Man is as big as the fucking tram car. It's just, the proportionality is just completely fucking ignored. And then they just call it bothered me when I was a kid watching this show that they would just call him Mega, as if like his surname was Man,
his man,
and his first name is Mega. That works when like Black Cat is like, "Hey Spider," you know, like when she's doing it in like a playful, sexy kind of way. But
I'll
like,
take it a step further. It works in Japan when his name is Rock, and then his superhero persona is Rockman. They could have just called him Rock because he's still Rock in this show. But no, they call him Mega.
They call him Mega. And like, I just imagined like a meeting of the Justice League, like where Superman is the first one at the table, right? And like the other heroes start walking in. Bat, super. Green, super. The super. You know, like, what the fuck are we doing? Those are not your names. That was the Flash joke, by the way. That was way funnier than you acted. I got it. No, you should have laughed way fucking harder. That was hysterical.
I was already laughing.
Wonder, Bat. Yeah, like, what the fuck are we doing? It's very odd. It bothered me when I was a kid when they would do that, too. Like, either say Mega Man or say nothing. Either of those are a better choice than Mega.
Yeah, calling it his nickname being Mega was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Or Eminem. Just call him Eminem.
I do have to also say, this show's intro, as the kids say, fucking slaps.
Oh, it does.
This theme song is so good. And the animation in the intro is ridiculously good. And I later learned in life is actually partially from an unrelated anime. There was I think it was a pilot, or at least some sort of attempt at making a Mega Man cartoon that looked like the Mega Man artwork, not like this cartoon. Mm-hmm. And so that's why when you see in the beginning, like the bullet things that have the big googly eyes, you know, that's from a different attempted Mega Man cartoon entirely. And it was just folded in there. So that's neat. As the episode begins, we have a child just actively taunting a really freaky looking robot dog.
Yeah.
So already I'm rooting against this kid. Already I'm looking at this kid like, look, you're going to you get what you pay for, kid. Like, you are about to enter the find out phase.
That's
because you're taunting a robot dog who's clearly going to kill you.
But and this is a world like where it's been clearly established that there are robots and some of them are bad. It's not like this kid is like, oh, I don't know what this thing is. Like this is an established thing.
Yeah. But I think the thing that really took me aback most of all is because I watched every episode of this show when it was on when I was a kid. So I vaguely remembered this one. But I don't ever think I pieced this together. And I'm not 100% sure this was intentional. But it looked like the robot dudes that were chasing him were bad box art Mega Mans. Yeah. They looked like they were designed after the box art Mega Man. That's
the feeling I got.
Anyway, a few scenes later, Roll has a microwave that she has
Because she's a girl, Kris.
An enlarging microwave, right? It doesn't make any sense that it fits in this arm cannon, but the microwave is full of potatoes that she then uses as hockey pucks. Because now I get what you're saying, because she's a girl, she's the microwave in there, she's a housekeeping robot, but she also has a fucking hockey stick.
Girls play field hockey? I am
fucking plexed. Right? That entire sequence was just like, I wish I was in the room when that got written out. I wish I could figure out who wrote that and said, yes, let's animate this. I'm going to draw this poorly, but we're going to draw it.
Again, completely out of proportion. It's like, it's a bigger microwave than should come out of her hand, but like, it's a tiny microwave.
It is.
It's a very small microwave that could not have fit 3 full potatoes in it.
Why does she have a microwave full of potatoes on hand at all times? How often does this come up in her life where she needs to be prepared to have a microwave full of rock solid potatoes at any time?
It does sound kind of awesome, though, if you could just be like, man, I could go for a baked potato.
Muffin button.
Right? Like, that sounds pretty dope.
Dr. Wily has this computer that he's getting a video call on, and its screen is like, it's a wide screen. I had to write that down. It was an unbelievably wide screen. And then, of course, I just wrote down, it's the Gutsman's ass episode, because I forgot that's what this was. And then I went on this tangent of just not being able to believe how many of these voice actors were in Dragon Ball Z and Beast Wars. Like the original Ocean dub of DBZ and Transformers Beast Wars had so many of these actors in it. Like Goku, Mega Man was also Goku in DBZ, and Cheetor in Beast Wars. And these are just the ones that I know, right? I know, even though he sounds completely different, I know Dr. Wily was also the same voice actor as Piccolo. And I know Cutman was also the same as Krillin. It's just so fucking wild to me. Like, those voice actors, I have such a nostalgic connection to these specific voice actors. So wild. But speaking of the animation, did you notice how many dead-eyed stares there were in this show?
There's a lot of dead-eyed. I mean, they are robots.
Yeah, but like even the humans too. Like this happened to Dr. Light a handful of times. You'd just be talking, and then as soon as the next person starts talking, he's no longer looking at them. He's looking through them. Just dead-eyed into space. Zero thought. Not a thought in his head. Just
there's a lack of blinking. Blinking really like helps to show that the character is alive, because otherwise they are just staring into space.
It's the complete lack of care. And then they're on that moving train, right? And Mega Man's answer is just, everybody jump out of the moving train that's going 5 bajillion miles an hour.
Yeah.
We'll fall several stories into the snow, and the elderly man that's with these robots is going to be just fucking fine. He lands in the snow like it's a pile of marshmallows.
Yes.
Outstanding.
Not accurate, kids. By the way, in case anybody was wondering. Not a thing you should do.
Then Gutsman shows up in costume again? What the hell was he wearing the second time?
It was like fucking Yeti.
The Yeti costume. What the The kangaroo was hysterical with Cutman with the ears.
Yeah.
Like, come
in the pouch.
On.
No, that was really
great. Amazing.
Gutsman really likes to cosplay, man. Don't fucking shame. You can't shame him.
I did like one of the things, Rumbleman's in the chat. So like, Gutsman and Cutman were like the regulars, and then there was a rotating cast of like another random robot from the Mega Man series. And this one had Ringman in it for some fucking reason.
And Hardman.
And
he
Hardman.
made a sexy fucking joke too. There was something he said.
Oh, come on, he's Hardman. How could he not?
Yeah.
But yeah, he said.
I think he said something like, "I'm gonna fuck you" or something like that. It was something very direct. Very
quote, give me bold. A ring next time you're in town. Ringman stares blankly as he has a no mouth. Fucking great. I had an issue with, like, this show is not exactly super accurate, but clearly they had enough connection to the game content that they would know about certain things. But this episode did things that were so contrary to established things in the game that seem really weird to have like just missed. Like, what is this marine gear he's putting on? Rush Marine is a thing. Like, Rush Marine is a thing, and you had Rush turn into like a wave runner at some point. Like, why not just use Rush Marine? It's one of the things that's in the game. You could just do that. The other thing was
that sounds hard to animate.
I think it sounds easier to animate than the fucking wave runner, but what do I know?
I don't know.
Then there's the wire power up, right? He's using this weird roped spear thing as a grappling hook over and over again. Like, the game has a power up for this exact occasion. It's called wire. You could have just done that.
But he would have had to beat the Robot Master to get it. I guess that Robot Master could have been in the kangaroo pouch instead of Cutman.
He could have just had it. It's fine. He could have just had it.
No, you're right. He could have beaten them. It doesn't matter. He didn't have to beat them.
None of this matters.
What am I talking about?
As the great Carl once said, this don't matter. None of this matters. Don't matter.
It's like my pool is tearing ass across the backyard. Except it's not.
Stand still.
Standing still.
Still waters run deep. Yeah. Oh, fucking A. And really, the last note I wrote was at the end of the episode when they've helped everybody no longer be robots. Not that they were robots to begin with. Like, the kid and the mom and the dad are on this like rescue boat or whatever at the end. Except the mom is still wearing the robot outfit.
Still wearing the robot. I thought about that too. I was like, did they not want to show the mom like taking clothes off?
But like, I don't think they showed the dad do that either. He's just standing there in a plaid shirt. They did? Yeah, they showed him taking it off?
They showed, like, earlier, like, the scene before that, like, he takes off the helmet and the shoulder pads and the gray jumpsuit. Like, yes, Overlord. So you got to get yourself some henchmen. Fucking C-Lab 2021 reference. Anyway, maybe they just didn't want to show the woman taking clothes. I don't know. That was the only thing I could think of, like, that may have crossed a line in 1995.
Not Gutsman's ass, but...
Not Gutsman's ass. I did think it was really funny.
Underneath.
They're walking around like, where could Dr. Wily be concocting this evil scheme? Is it on the roller coaster or the fucking skull-shaped castle at the end of the park? I don't know, Mega. Where do you think it might be? Is it the merry-go-round or the very clearly evil secret lair? Which one? And you have to ride the rides in order? Who the fuck is going to Fun World? It's a weird.
It doesn't sound fun to me. Somebody else had pointed out in the I gotta find it on the Discord, but somebody else pointed out that Gen X, also with all this chaos and things blowing up everywhere, who is just still casually riding these rides?
Yeah, I thought that too. There's robots fucking destroying each other. Cutman destroys like half of the fucking roller coaster, but the other people are like, you know what though? We're still going on the log flume because we paid for our tickets, damn it.
I've been waiting in line for 2 hours. I'm going to get on this ride if it kills me.
It's just no longer a trip. It's now a quest. It's a quest for fucking fun. That's what it fucking turned into. This show sucks. It is not a good show. It's not good. Any of these I like it.
Going to be. This was so much fun to watch, though.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
Blast.
I did too, but it's legitimately bad. This is just not good. It's so much better than Bubsy. It's at least watchable. They tried to make it Mega Man E, like it's Mega Man Jace. It's Mega. It's not Mega Man, but it is Mega.
It is indeed that. There was just such an astounding lack of care, you know? Like, it was just...
Yeah.
What the hell, man?
I noticed there were a couple scenes where, like, they would just either keep... Like, the first time you see Dr. Wily, he just stays staring at the screen. And his voice, like, he has, like... 15, 20 seconds of dialogue where you're just looking at the back of his head. And then there's like another moment where the characters like go off screen, and then there's like 10, 15 seconds of dialogue. It's like, wow, you guys are really trying to fucking cut corners. My goodness,
my God.
you wouldn't even animate that part. That is insanity. But like
also
as a
always
kid,
bothered-
I was like, it's fucking Mega Man. This is great.
Yeah,
You
it's
hear
a
that
Mega Man
theme song?
cartoon.
This is the best show ever.
It always bothered me how much of a villain they made Proto Man, because Mega Man 3 is my favorite one. So obviously I like the anti-hero, like Breakman confused. I like the story of Blues, right? But
Sure.
he's just a straight dick in this show. He's
He's
an awful person, irredeemable, wants to beat up Mega Man. Like he's just a shit in this show.
He's just a
I
bad
never liked
guy.
that very much.
He's like the cartoon definitely did try to follow, like it definitely hits on a lot of those 80s action tropes of like he's very clearly Starscream.
Oh my God.
Like he's very clearly Starscream. Dr. Wily is very clearly Megatron. Proto Man is always there of like, I'm fucking better than you. I'm better than Mega Man. All of you can kiss my ass. Even though I get beat every fucking week. Have you seen my scarf? It's
all of you
dope.
can kiss Guts Man's ass.
It does make me really want a seriously good Mega Man show, though. I feel like
think
there's
back to that
good idea in there.
That comic book. That comic book was so good.
It really was.
The Archie Mega Man comics. If you never read them and you're a Mega Man fan, go read them. Holy shit, did they turn Mega Man 1 through 3 and various other things as well into a functional narrative that was very, very good. I would just
almost
love
as
to see
good
that
as the
adapted.
World's a Power book.
Almost. Tough act to follow there.
Really is.
Thank you, FX9. All right, we should about wrap this up. I think we've been talking about this for almost as long as the episode is. Right, it's a 22-minute episode of just a big old bucket of wow. And I really enjoyed listening to reading everybody's comments as they watched the episode. I feel like us trying to arrange some sort of watch party for these episodes. I would love to try and figure that out because it seems like the kind of thing that would be a lot of fun to experience with other people and then discuss afterwards. But
I think
that wraps it up.
Maybe we do that like for the 1 year anniversary of this segment. We pick like 3 of our favorite episodes and we watch them back to back to back and just have a fucking shit on it party.
That could be fun. But so that's going to wrap up the Cartoon Express for this month. But it is time for us to pick our next episode. I have the playlist up and running. I am ready to hit the shuffle button and see what comes up. And here we go. We will be watching The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, Season 2, Episode 16. Does it have a title? I don't know. It just says episode 16 here. Let's see if I can find an episode title. Okay, so this is the goofball one. All right, this is the serious
Saturday
one.
morning one?
No, the Saturday morning one was the serious one. This is the goofball one. Robotnik Jr. is the name of the episode.
Oh, boy. I love when they make smaller versions of the main characters. That is just... never fails. Always good.
I'm going to look this up real quick because we did when we did the Mega Man one, the episodes were all screwed up on Evan's server. So I want to make sure we're getting the right one here, which I am already having some concerns with because this is listed as Season 2, Episode 16, and IMDb claims there was only one season. So, let's see.
It's all falling apart.
Robotnik Jr., is that what it said? Okay.
Yeah.
So, Season 1, Episode 29.
All right.
According to IMDb. See, this has it split into 4 seasons. 19 episodes, 18 episodes, 25 episodes, and 4 episodes. So something has gone terribly wrong here.
Something has gone amiss.
So I'm just going to say that we are watching the episode of Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog that, according to IMDb, is episode 29, Robotnik Jr. If you need help finding this episode to watch, jump into our Discord and let us know. We have ways of helping you with that. That's all I will say about that. Are you excited for Jaleel White Sonic the Hedgehog?
I mean, anytime it's an Urkel vehicle, you just know he's going to bring it.
He never doesn't. Yeah. Chili dogs.
Jesus Christ.
This is going to be awesome. I also used to watch the shit out of this show.
I did not. I am so unfamiliar with this. Unsurprisingly, right? I
don't remember it being good. I remember not caring for it at all, but I would watch. I would almost hate watch it because I was such a Nintendo goon. I'd be like, look at this nonsense. You wish you were the Super Mario Brothers Super Show.
Look at what these fucking Sega douchebags are watching. Bunch of pussies. That's exactly what you sounded like back in the day.
Absolutely, you nailed it.
Very foul-mouthed young man. Walking around the playground, calling everybody a bitch boy.
Oh, Jesus. Boy.
Bunch of Sega fuckboys. Let's go.
All right, I'm going to throw this in the Discord. Our next episode will be this. All right, and there we go. That's it. That's going to wrap it up for us. That is our show. Join us next time for a listener request topic. That's right. We will be comparing the Super NES and Game Boy Advance libraries to determine which system was truly better.
This is a 32X, obviously.
32X was the winner. So there you go. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. That's going to be a great conversation.
So too. I am really curious to. I'm pretty sure I know where I am going to land. But I'm really interested.
I feel I know in my heart where I'm going to land, but for some reason
I don't land.
I know what I think is better off the top of my head, but we'll have to see. That's what makes this such an interesting topic. Yeah. So we'll see where we land. But anyway, we're on most social media platforms, and if you want to get in touch with us, we aren't very difficult to find. All it takes is a quick look at our show notes, and you'll see links to our social media accounts, as well as all manner of other fun stuff, like a link to our namesake, StoneAgeGamer.com, and more useful links than you can shake a joystick at. If you'd like to get early access to this show's episodes, as well as a bevy of other shows on the Geekade Podcast Network, check out our Patreon, also linked to in the show notes. It helps keep this show running week after week, and all our patrons are loved and appreciated. This show's theme song, Squared Roots, was written by Banjo Guy Ollie. You can learn all about his wonderful music and more by following the link to his YouTube channel, also in the show notes. And finally, as always, we'd like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making the show listenable for all you folks. We'd like to thank all you folks for listening in the first place. That's it, everybody. On behalf of Dan and myself, keep playing games.